welcome to the 1878 FM podcast. It's Christmas Eve. It is Christmas Eve. It is Christmas bonanza. Although Sam Avery disappeared for this one.
Well, he's got young children.
He has got young children.
This will be a particularly busy day for him.
It will be.
Keeping them calm, I imagine.
Keep the dream alive.
Just keeping them calm.
Yeah.
He's probably, knowing Sam, he's probably visiting around like old people's homes as well.
Given.
So do you know what he's probably doing? He's probably sat there in his front room watching his next door neighbour, his elderly neighbour, putting all of his bins out and probably putting his deckies on the front of the house. That's probably what he's doing.
And also,
I think so.
But Sam knows the dates have changed for the bin delivery.
Yeah.
So he's like, you think the fella's like, oh, I think it's a normal day, and Sam's like, no, it's not, mate. It's not till like next week. But I'm going to watch you struggle because it's the kind of person. It's the kind of person I am.
91-year-old Joe battling the bins and
play,
and Sam's just there like an evil Doctor Evil.
Could be his last. Could be Joe's last Christmas for all we know. In this country, because next week's going to Barbados.
Good. Yeah. Well recovered. I mean, I thought that they was taking a dark turn, and not really the mood we were trying to create.
Because we all know that people who go away at Christmas who are quite old always survive.
Can you hear that noise in the background?
I heard someone.
It feels like you've got a dog rustling around.
No, do you know what it is?
Fixing your roof.
No, there's someone outside. The window's open. There's someone outside battering. Just 2 seconds. You carry on. I'll be back in a minute.
I'll tell you what. Someone's doing well, aren't they, when you can leave the window open in December? Someone's doing all right, aren't they?
It's not as cold down south as what it is up here.
You know what it was?
Go on.
It's a knobhead builder from yesterday, from next door rather, who's just like, he's lobbing a load of stuff into the skip on the drive next door. So that's what I can hear.
We were just saying, though, Dave, you can tell someone's doing well if they can leave the windows open in December.
This is a very small room, though, in fairness. I mean, I haven't got underfloor heating or anything posh like this. It's a very small room.
Not like that.
So yeah, and it's not that cold.
Are you all ready? You're all ready for the big man coming down the chimney, Dave?
Just about. I'm wrapped. I mean, I'm not one of these people that starts early with Christmas presents. You know, some people start in October, and whatnot, and they have all their stuff done early doors. I'm not one of those people. I only started a few days ago, but everything is done. Everything is wrapped. Everyone is where they should be. And so, I think I am just about, now that it's Christmas Eve and whatnot. I think I'm just about ready for the big onslaught tomorrow.
I like that, though. I like that you're sort of in the middle ground. You haven't started too early, but at the same time, you have got everything done before the panic starts. I like that. You
can't, like, Christmas Eve running around is...
Yeah.
It's really mad. Are we doing a footy or not?
We will get on to some kind of football chat.
Years ago, I used to go with my mum to Tesco on Christmas Eve morning at like 7 o'clock and get stuff for, like, obviously for the food and all that. And there was an excitement about it, but there was also like a madness about it. Like some people thought it wasn't open again for a month. Yeah. We'd be getting like trying to get the fresh veg and stuff, obviously, for your dinner and did some. And that was an excitement. That was like the start of Christmas Eve, like a bit exciting as you're a bit older. But some people would have like 3 trolleys, like full as if the shops weren't opening. And there is that thing of like last minute madness on Christmas Eve, isn't it?
Never knowing how much is enough. No, that's the thing, isn't it?
Don't you? Have you panicked that? You know, have you got extra? You know, when you've like, I don't know if you do it, but like you'll go and grab some stuff and go, so just get that as well, and you start grabbing unnecessary.
And before you know it, you've got like a whole another trolley full of stuff that you hadn't even banked on, which in today's world is probably another 70 or 80 quid worth of stuff that you hadn't even. Excuse me, I'm getting all emotional. I'm not. I just swallowed my tea the wrong way. But unless you go into Aldi, right? If you go into Tesco's or Asda or something like that, it's 70 or 80 quid. You know, without even trying. I had some last minute bits that my mum had a list of stuff that she'd forgotten originally on her order, right? So she wanted some streaky bacon for the top of the turkey.
Nice.
She'd forgotten some Branston pickle for the cheese and biscuits. All these little bits and bobs, right?
Yeah.
And so I thought I can either go out first thing this morning, right? As in supermarkets open about 7, I think. So I thought I could do that. But I reckon and I mean, I don't know this because I wasn't at the supermarket at 7 o'clock this morning, but I would imagine that it was mayhem, because I would imagine there's a whole load of people who think, right, well, I'm going to get in there early before the crowds. And it would have been crackers, which is what, no pun intended, which is why I went last night at about 9:30, and it was all right. 9:30 on the 23rd was quite a good time to go.
Yeah, I used to find that that because Tesco opens in the middle of the night, I used to love going. Just like, let's go shopping at 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the night on like the 23rd or something. Get there. What a great time to go shopping. No one about.
I've done that in the past.
A few taxi drivers and a few other random lunatics, and you get it all done. But as I said, that's the thing with Christmas now. It's just like, how much is enough? Yeah. But I would love to see it. It never happened, of course, never happened. But I want Christmas to just be like what it felt like as a kid, which was just a solid everyone off for 2 weeks. Now, I know that probably wasn't the reality of the situation, but it just felt like everybody was off for 2 weeks. And I want that to return, because I just feel like it comes and goes so fast now. And it's just ended up being like almost a 1 or 2 day celebration for most people. I mean, really, get it so Boxing Day everyone's off. I mean, that's got to be the first start, hasn't it?
Just don't play footy for the start.
And more shops are doing that. And I think that's important, because it's just not fair on people, I think. It's just not fair.
No, it's good. You got to give people a break. And that is mad. I mean, just thinking there, last minute shopping at Aldi with an 80 quid budget would be quite dangerous, wouldn't it? Because you could hit that middle aisle and people are getting wetsuits before they knew it. Fire pits.
This is true. I think the other thing you have to bear in mind, though, is one thing choosing a quieter time to do your shopping when the aisles and the car park are going to be quieted, but you've also got to gauge it on when the deliveries are, right? So if someone's been in there and they've cleared everything out, it's all well and good you being there at 10 o'clock at night, but if the shelves aren't getting restocked until the morning, then you've got to weigh all these things up.
That's true. I mean, and they do have those that if you can time that delivery in the night. But just going back to what Baz, you were saying there about an Aldi / Lidl middle aisle, I find that's the bullseye style of Christmas shopping. That is, if you come out with a kayak and a wetsuit, and that's your big present.
They'd be fine.
Do you know what I mean?
Dave would be fine.
Absolutely. You go in there for mince pies and you come back with an orbital sander. It's these sort of things. Stuff that you weren't expecting.
But I think people would be happy. They might look and go, well, you've got me an orbital sander. But, when later on in the year, there's a little bit of sanding needs done.
I think that's the difference in Christmas as an adult and Christmas as a kid. When you're a kid, you very much know what you want. And you don't have things in your life, or saying we didn't. I think most of our big things we got were always as a kid. Had to do with clothes or computers or TVs kits, or whatever, footy kits, whereas footy kits now will always be bought at the beginning of the season because they've only got that one shell. So being an adult, I quite like the idea now of just saying to someone, get me whatever. You pick, and then they give you something, and it's something that you would never have bought for yourself ever. And then you like it. Now, if that is a sander, then fair play.
Hang on, okay. That's lovely intentions.
Yeah.
But aren't you someone who's given a Christmas present back to your sister because you didn't like it?
Yeah, but it was
right away.
Scouting for Girls' album.
There's a lot of validity in giving that back, I'll be honest. But by the same token, is a present not a present?
Not when it's got a receipt.
Okay.
What did you, just out of interest, I think the more interesting question here is, what did you swap it for?
Oh, I've got no idea. Probably record tokens. Remember them? Well, your nana always get your records. Yeah, this record or a voucher. What am I going to do with that? Now I'm forced to buy something in Boots, Nan. Thanks for that. So I've got another link set. So your life, I'll just give me cash.
Let's do the footy and get back to Christmas. Right? Yeah. So very quickly, Dave, Chelsea at home, 0-0. Good point for Everton. Not loads of great attack and play by the Toffs, but we know that from either Toff actually. But both teams had two good chances, and ironically, all of them came at the Gladys Street end. But it ended 0-0. I mean, what did you make of the game, and how happy are you with another point for Everton on the board?
I'm very happy with another point on the board. I mean, the thing is, you do get potentially, greedy's not the right word, but obviously with that great tackle from Tosin at the end to deny and die, which is a phrase I've never said before.
No.
You know, and then you start thinking, oh, could we nick it? You know, could we get the 3 points here? But on balance, as you said, to have come away with a hard-fought point, and it was a hard-fought point. I thought what was encouraging for me, and was a step up from the Arsenal game. The Arsenal game I was delighted with again as a hard-fought point, but I thought there was, you know, there was more attacking play. You know, there wasn't a huge amount, but there was more attacking play. You know, Mangala had 2 efforts on goal, didn't he? One with his left, one with his right. Jack Harrison should have scored. And as I say, had it not been for some brilliant defending from Tosin at the back for them, then, you know, that ball would have gone in somehow from Ndiaye. Not sure whether he would have got the final touch, but it would have gone in, I think. So, yeah, I think I'm happy with it. You know, I think to have got a point against Arsenal, point against Chelsea, City next, I'm happy. And I just felt like there was the seeds of something a little bit more creative and a bit more exciting, you know, and whether that's, you've obviously got the new board in attendance there, and obviously Goodison was in full voice, almost, you know, sort of showing what this club and what this set of fans are all about. But I just felt that there was a little bit more than parking the bus. I felt that there was a bit more attacking intent and a bit more bravery and guts and whatnot. And so, yeah, I thought it was a step up and a step in the right direction, and encouraging in terms of where we are just now.
Okay. The other thing I was going to say to you was, obviously, since we recorded this last week, the takeover has been completed. We knew it'd be last week, but it was all done and dusted on Thursday. So how do you feel now then, Dave? The relief there, and just glad that it's all out the way and we can start to move forward.
Absolutely. I think you can only be positive at this stage, can't you? You know, it's we wait to see how this current regime ends up as custodians of this club. But yeah, you have to be optimistic, you have to be confident, and excited about you know, a new future. So yeah, and as you say, just a relief, obviously, with a lot of false dawns in recent time in terms of new ownership and whatnot. Then it's just good to actually see it all actually happen, and hopefully we are now being run by a group of people who are professional in this operation, and will actually do the best interest of the club financially, which is something that certainly hasn't been the case for the last few years.
I mean, Ped, what are you looking forward to next? And obviously we've got that done. We've seen a lot of stuff. We've seen a handover at the stadium as well, of course,
Friday night,
last week. So what have you made of the Freakins' first 3 or 4 days in charge?
I don't know. They put a nice big sign up, didn't they? At their Houston base, put a nice big sign up. They put a lovely thing on their website, sort of highlighting Everton's career. I believe that they had they were all wearing shirts in their offices in Houston. And do you know what I'd love to see? Genuinely, I'd love to see them take some money out of my pocket. Like, do you know what I was thinking? No, not necessarily going.
They will do in January.
No, not necessarily going the match, but I would look. I was thinking about this the other day. Just there's so much that can be monetarised with Everton Football Club. And we don't do it. We don't. There's not. You know, we're grown men. I'd like to think, but I bet you the 3 of us haven't spent over. I mean, you have for your lad, but I bet you the 3 of us haven't spent like £100 between us on, let's say,
stuff for us,
training gear, or do you know what I mean? Like, yeah. You know, we could the 3 of us could probably walk into the club shop, and if we really fancied it, going, oh my God, that stuff's amazing, could easily just go, do you know what, for the season, I'm going to spend £100 here on some tops and some trackies and whatever. I'm not going to buy that stuff. I'm going to buy Everton stuff. And I'd love that. Do you know what I mean? I see all the gear that some other clubs get, and I think that's great. I'd love to have stuff like that myself. And I think that's where actually they have to start taking that money off people. Not just like going to match, because obviously Dave lives down south and he can't get up for every game and stuff like that. So how can you get Dave's money off it? How can you get a fan like Dave to spend money on stuff and other people around the world and that kind of thing? How can you start taking money off people who don't go to home games and don't have access to going doing other things that you'll spend your money on?
This is just online marketing, though, isn't it? You know, in the same way.
Yeah,
but you know, as a club, they have been very much behind a lot of people in terms. You know, they've been very. I don't know what the word is, whether it's backward or just not very sophisticated in their thinking for many years, and they've been left behind. And hopefully, you know, well, twofold: it's new ownership and the new stadium as well. Hopefully, will sort of signal a better commercial. Or rather, a commercial policy and strategy which is in keeping with where we are in the year 2025 coming up. I think it's fair to say, you know, we've joked before about, you know, the two ladies sort of with the cans of Chang and stuff like that, you know, but that did in many ways epitomize how far behind as a club we were, you know, when you know, even 10 years ago, when you looked at how other people were operating. But, you know, to your point in terms of how do you because, you know, you've got to sell this club on a globe, you know, in order to compete. It's not just about those people that are going into the club shop on a Saturday afternoon. You know, you've got to compete on a global level, and you've got to, you know, hopefully, you know, you're talking about sort of people in the offices in Houston or whatever wearing Everton shirts, but you have got to market in order to keep up. You have got to market to an American audience and a Singaporean audience and a Taiwanese audience or whatever it might be. And if that's done through clever marketing on the likes of Instagram and TikTok and all these different things, and then you suddenly just click on a link and you go through and you can get your Everton keyring or you can get your Everton water bottle or your trackies or whatever it is, you know, they've got to be doing that. And I can only hope that obviously the Friedkins are in this game already. You know, it's not like this is the first club that they've owned. So hopefully they're in this club already and they have people that can, you know, put this template, if you like, onto our club. Just one quick thing, sorry, just on that front. The only thing, and I hope, having just said that you can only be positive, and I am wholly positive. There was just one thing, if I can be slightly not critical, there was one thing in that statement from Dan Friedkin that I don't know whether you felt the same. It was just, and I don't want this to sound negative, but it was just the fact that it was the way he said, I'm really, you know, and here we are welcoming Everton Football Club to our global family. And I know that is the case, but don't you think it made it feel a little bit like we were just a little, I mean, do you know what I'm trying to say?
No.
It didn't feel like we are, I just thought that the tone was slightly odd in as much as they should have been the fact that we are so happy and proud and, you know, to take on this huge, you know, bastion of English football. And instead it was a bit like an acquisition to their portfolio.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that was the only thing. But as I say, literally, and I'm not trying to, you know, I don't want people watching this thinking, oh, bloody hell, you've got new ownership and you're already criticizing. I'm not. It was just, and I am excited about the future, but I just thought the tone of that being part of their portfolio could have maybe been said better.
No, I get that. I get that sort of, we all want to feel a little bit special, don't we? And I suppose their portfolio's pretty good though, isn't it? And it's to be part of that is, and hopefully we benefit from that portfolio as well in terms of like, I mean, going back to me, you know, things like Toyota and naming rights and all that kind of thing. But even just then, the thing I was somewhat them was like, they obviously have Roma. And Roma have got to deal with Adidas. So even if they have a relationship with Adidas through Roma and go to Adidas and say, do you know what, your brand would be amazing, because I think that's something that, because what I was referring to before was the idea you see people wearing gear and you go, you're so jealous of what they've got. And I see with the Adidas stuff, the Adidas stuff's so up my street, and the Adidas original stuff now that they're starting to make again is so up the street, I think, of people our age, that we'd wear that, because it's not overly like training groundy, it's more sort of fashion sort of stuff that we.
It's also a bit of a retro nod though as well, isn't it?
Retro stuff back to the 80s and stuff. So
it's like me with my watch, isn't it? Right, with my sort of with my retro Casio watch. Is that kind of thing for people of a certain age.
Yeah. Yeah, it goes back to that. As I said, for something like so, for them reaching out to someone like Adidas and go, listen, how about you come and have a look and see what you could do with Everton? Because, you know, I know they're taking over Liverpool, but it's like, you've also got Man United, so what's the difference? And actually, these would buy in massively to that kind of stuff. And I'd really love them, if we're part of, you know, if you're talking about that, them to be able to have those conversations where obviously other people who've owned us, Machine people in the past, never have had those relationships. They could never walk in the room and say, oh, I know that person, that person, that person, that person, that person, and we can do something with them. It's like when Liverpool brought in Peter Moore, and he'd been at EA, so obviously he had relationships with everybody in football and could get all the best, could go and talk to someone about, you know, the kit deals and everything else. So I'm looking forward to that side, and if that's what they mean by being part of the portfolio, then fair play. But I do get what you mean. Like,
it was. I mean, it's a subtlety, and it's something that, you know, I can say it on here, and I can say it to you because you'd understand what I mean.
Yeah,
but I don't want this to sound as if I'm in any way being negative before they've even bloody done anything. But it was just a tone thing. That's all.
Yeah,
you know?
I think for them, there's probably two things going on. The low key. The low-key owners, as in, I've spoke to a few people about them now, and it's like everything. They try to do things professionally at all times and just like out the way. He's not a big flag bear and flag waving owner.
Yeah.
And also, there's probably a bit of sensitivity to Rome.
That's what I was thinking then.
Yeah.
Well.
Yeah.
Even though I do believe they'll sell Roma in the next 18 months. I think there's a lot of people asking questions about what that'll mean for Roma at the moment.
Actually, to be fair to that probably explains what I'm talking about. Actually, and I hadn't thought about that before, but actually that's probably the explanation. I hadn't thought about it from a Roma point of view.
But also, just on your thing, me and Zach were playing FIFA last night, and he went Roma, and he showed me one of their kits, and he was like, "This kit's amazing." And he was like, "Do you reckon Everton could get that?" Why couldn't, as it was playing out in my head, why couldn't Everton be Adidas?
No, I know.
Liverpool, because I think we've also, I'm not saying this is not you, and probably not most fans, but we do have to get a way of going like, well, Liverpool at home, or like...
No, I think there was always... So what? I think there was always a school of thought that, like, Adidas would never sponsor Everton, never, because they had Adidas, and now because they were like... Because, like, Umbro was always like our traditional brand, Adidas has been their traditional brand. No, I know, but I think now Adidas are trying to corner the market in football.
Leicester have had it,
no, we want to be higher than that, though. We want to be like one of the top brands. But I actually think they're the only brand who could come in and get people like us to spend lots of money on their gear. Like, there's no other... Because we and certainly people in this city have got that sense of like that. Certainly now as well, because they're going back to their roots of having the trefoil on. And I think if you could sell that to these people... But again, going back to that point, I suppose Dan Freakin looks at it as... And I think this is a positive. Some people see it as a positive, people might see it as a negative. Dan Freakin is...
Dave, clearly.
Joking, Dave. Dave Freakin. Dan Freakin it has to look at it from everything, doesn't he? But then he puts the people in charge of your football club who go, no, we run this football club. Dan Freakin doesn't run our football club. No. He runs the whole group. So he has to be, like we were saying then, a little bit more sensitive to everybody. But if you go on their website right now, Dave, and you see that the video montage that's on their website right now. Yeah. God, it's the best PR I've seen for a long time for our football club. So it's well worth looking at. So I take both points, but I suppose at the moment Roma have got to be very careful because they're just like
well, it's not like everything's going brilliant, although they did have a great win.
Yeah, the good win at the weekend, didn't he? 5-0.
The Everton effect, like you said before. Definitely. Once Everton touches you, you're amazing.
Absolutely. It normally works the other way, but
here you go. So there you go. I mean, obviously, just very briefly then, Dave, Man City on Boxing Day. Are you feeling a little bit more confident, say you would have done about 3 weeks ago going into this one?
Yeah, 100% feeling more confident. I mean, to be honest with you, I think if it was at home, I think we do that. I think we win that.
I said the same.
That's genuinely how I feel at the moment. And you know, and I don't want to, get too carried away, but after the two performances back to back just now against two top sides who are going well, I think that if City is at our place, I think we win that. But if we weren't, on paper, we weren't expecting anything out of any of this run realistically of fixtures. we've got 2 points that we perhaps didn't allocate for. If we can get a point against City, I'd be delighted. I think it's going to be tough, but we'll see. But I think it just seems to be a bit more confidence and just a bit more optimism, and I think that shone out against Chelsea.
Yeah. So there you go. Let's put more positive signs on the way.
It's tough game. Both. I mean, that was the thing. We were looking at the block of fixtures, weren't we, and going like, oh, Liverpool. Well, Manchester United, then Wolves, a team we have to beat. Then Liverpool, then Arsenal, then then Chelsea, then
City,
and then you've got Forest who are fourth.
I know, flying.
Bournemouth who are in fifth, and Villa is like having Spurs, and you're like, oh my God, let's just look forward to Christmas. Let's look forward to Christmas.
What we did say,
no, it's one game at a time.
Every one of us though did say on this that there'll be points there that no one expects, and we do it every year. We've had this. I remember, I know it was COVID, so it was a different time, but I remember me and you sat on the sofa and we had like even Leicester at that time. It's tough, and we had Arsenal and Chelsea, and people were like, no points anyway, and we beat all of them.
Beat them, yeah.
And it was like we come out of it second, and everyone was
by
like,
West Ham.
I didn't see that coming. Like,
did he stand there like that? Like that with like I'm a little teapot.
Yeah,
that's right. That's right.
Really love your tiger feet, he went with. And you can just never tell. But this is like for the manager, these are his perfect games because there's no expectation on it. And if you dog out to draw 0-0, people are giving.
It'll be Peterborough in the cup. That'll be the tough one.
Yeah.
I actually think Forest at home will be the biggest thing, but we'll see. Yeah. Doing all right. Back to Christmas then. It is Christmas Eve. We should stay with that. Dave, what is your favourite Christmas film? Have you got one? If so, what is it?
Favourite Christmas film? I've always been. Well, the quick answer is no. I don't have one.
Okay.
But for the purposes of this, I've always been a big Clark Griswold fan.
Okay.
As in National Lampoons. Yeah. Clark Griswold has always been something of a hero of mine. So for that reason alone, anything that features him and obviously Chevy Chase in his pomp and stature, then I'd be going for that. So National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation will be my final answer. Thank you.
Will be the one.
It is a classic.
It's a classic.
It's an absolute classic.
He's just so good. He's just. I mean, it's just the Griswolds are brilliant.
In their different many. There was like before there was reboots. There was a reboot, wasn't there? Family got rebooted a couple of times,
did. I mean, the bit in it, obviously, when the girl shows what type of underwear he's trying to buy, that'll never, ever leave me. Ever. It's not its age, and it stayed. It made an impression on me.
Clearly.
It never happened to me. The occasions when I've bought my wife lingerie, whatever.
When you've been there in the George section in Asda buying your missus's lingerie, no one's ever done that.
No one has ever done that, ever. So that's why I have to take my hat off.
Sheila just never bothered.
Never. That's why.
But that was only because she was wearing trousers.
Yeah, George evolved. It's a trouser.
She only got one leg as well.
That would be that'd be a bit weird, a bit mad, wouldn't it? She's just pulling the trousers down in the middle of Asda. And you've got Nelly by the side with a trolley, 3 trolleys full of
and you know what? You get done for stuff like that these days. I find.
Yeah, it was a better time in when the Griswolds were there. It was a different time.
Very much.
In different countries. I mean, Sam was raging here, and the Griswolds were getting knicker shots away.
Absolutely.
Ped, have you got a favourite Christmas film?
Saving Private Ryan. Absolutely the perfect. It's the perfect
Sounds
Christmas film.
like right.
It's the perfect Christmas film.
Imagine my surprise.
The good guys win in the end, and everyone's happy, and it feels like Christmas.
Yeah, I'm just thinking. There's nothing. When just imagining Christmas. At Ped's house, there can't be many more beautiful Christmas images than Ped on Christmas morning, excited going down to the Christmas tree to unwrap, excited to give and to receive.
Of course,
I can imagine that you are just Mr. Christmas all round.
God, absolutely.
You have to stop me being Mr. Christmas all year round, Dave. That's the secret.
I often think of it when you come in here. I just think, God, he's like.
That's the secret.
As he walks in, Dave, you hear the song playing just before he comes through the door.
And the bells are jingling.
It could be Christmas.
No, that's not true. It's hark Hark the Herald Angels Sing.
It's just there.
That is played.
You are
my backing song.
Santa Claus himself.
Of course I am.
You're full of
I work hard once a year.
You're like yeah, exactly. The jolly elf.
Jolly elf.
Are you two all sorted though? Are you all set for the big day?
Set for the big guy, mate. Ready?
Do you give each other presents as well?
No, we're not that kind of relationship.
It's not that kind.
No, it's fine. I wasn't casting aspersions.
I have got a card for both Ped and James. So there you go.
There you go. A card and a manly handshake.
Yeah. Well, maybe. Yeah. Maybe. So there you go. Yeah, all sorted, excited, ready. Nice.
Yeah, I don't like.
Have you actually got a Christmas film though? Because behave yourself. Have you actually got a favourite Christmas film? You're gonna say Die Hard here.
Die Hard is a good Christmas film, but it's not my favourite Christmas film.
Okay.
I don't think I do have a favourite Christmas film because I think there's so many to choose from that I don't have a favourite of any kind. I don't have any Christmas traditions as such. I don't know. I don't think I do have anything. I just like. I'm trying to think if there's one that really stands out for me that I will always watch. I just think there's so many, you know. I think there's so many. There's not one I generally make an effort for. Rather, you know, if there's something on, I will watch it. I will catch it.
I love thing. I've just finished. I know it's not a Christmas film, but I did love the Black Dove.
Love Actually
absolutely right.
Spooks.
I had to watch it.
You have to watch it at Christmas.
I did.
Because there's nothing worse, no matter what the genre is, of watching a programme that's set at Christmas and it's not Christmas. And that's why like the Die Hard thing comes in of like whether people go as Christmas film or not. It's like I don't like watching things that are not that are Christmassy.
Set out of season type thing.
It's because you've got to have the little vibe to go with it.
Yeah. Excellent. So, okay. What about a Christmas song then?
Dave was the DJ.
Dave was the DJ. So he should, the top man.
In many ways, still is a DJ.
Well, he is.
Hasn't retired.
No, not everything. Not really.
Retired.
You're not a retired.
I haven't retired. It's sort of more of a forced retirement more than anything else.
Yeah, but wait till you're in the jungle next year.
Well, this is it. You absolutely, and I'll be doing all DJing those Christmas parties when I come back, won't I?
Listen.
Favorite Christmas song is an easy one for me actually because it is Fairy Tale of New York, which I know is a fairly obvious answer, but I think it's just a beautiful, beautiful piece of music, and even though from the 1st of December through till January, you hear it on high rotation every single year, but it's still a song that kind of puts a tear in my eye. Interestingly, I watched a documentary on Fairy Tale of New York the other day.
I have seen said documentary.
Have you?
Yes.
Yeah, and it was actually one that I watched the documentary on the making of Band-Aid first, which in itself was interesting in a fly on the wall kind of way. And then when I finished it on the iPlayer, it said, "You obviously like that. Would you like to watch something similar?" And then it directed me to a documentary that I wasn't even aware of with the Pogues and Kirsty MacColl. And I never realised, and obviously, Ped, you may have known this beforehand. I don't know, that the whole reason why it ended up being Kirsty MacColl on there, Baz, was because the producer Steve Lillywhite happened to be dating Kirsty MacColl at the time. They had written the song. They needed a female vocalist for that part. They had a female member of the band who they were going to get to do it, and for whatever reason she then didn't do it. So this song sat on the shelf for many years, and Steve Lillywhite took it home and got Kirsty to record the bits separately from the band, right? And then brought it in with her on there, and they're going to go, "That's great, that's brilliant," and then it's done, and that was it.
And also, there's no such thing as the NYPD choir either.
Yeah.
Well, the funny thing is, you're just saying that about being high rotation is, when I was in New York a couple of years ago, I only heard it once the entire time I was there, and there was loads of like tuk-tuks going around playing music, and it was only in one of the tuk-tuks going past that I heard it in the entire time I was there.
Wow.
Which I just thought it was weird. A whole song dedicated to a city, and in our point of view, being in the UK, feels like spiritually attached to that city. And there's some and it does conjure up this thing of like, imagine being in New York it must be like that on Christmas Eve. This, like, even though the song is not really magical when you listen to the words, but there's like, it's more just like someone's, again, idea of what it's being like. But Dave, just going back to your answer there, Obviously, you were a DJ on the breakfast show
on the radio.
On Radio 1. Very, very powerful. Was there ever a song that you helped? And I might know the answer to this.
I think you do know the answer to this.
Was there ever a song that you helped put into the public's eye that hadn't been seen as a popular Christmas song?
Lobby, you go.
No. I do have an idea of what it is. But what is the one that you would say, Dave?
So on the Christmas front, there was one, and it was called Dominic the Donkey.
The Donkey.
Is that the one that you were thinking of?
That was the one I was
thinking
of.
So there was Dominic the Donkey, you know, the Italian Christmas donkey.
Yeah.
And so I wasn't aware of this Christmas song before, but it was one that we used to play a lot. And then I think for sure we did popularize it, and that's the only one I can think of that we probably made famous. I mean, aside from Christmas, funny enough, I'm actually looking on my wall here. I can't show you, but I've got like a South Park sort of disc here, which was from that Chocolate Salty Balls record. Do you remember that? And that was one as well that we had a big hand in popularizing. But yeah, on the Christmas front, I think it was just Dominic the Donkey.
Because it is interesting, isn't it? Because obviously we live in a very different time now, and obviously we've seen Last Christmas get to number 1 the last 2 years. But that had never been Christmas number 1 before. So obviously there was a massive power in radio, wasn't it? Like pushing these songs. And Fairy Tale in New York, like we just mentioned, took years.
To actually to sort of to happen, wasn't it? And the other thing with the Band-Aid documentary, the other thing that I never realized until the other day, which I think is brilliant and perhaps should be better known, is that George Michael's Last Christmas, right, was kept off the top spot by Band-Aid, which obviously he also performed on. So he got the number 2 slot with Last Christmas, but then gave all of the royalties for Last Christmas to the Band-Aid Foundation, which is a brilliant contribution, and I don't think is recognized enough.
No.
But did you see that on said documentary, Ped, where you've got George Michael talking to Paulie Yates, and it is very much, when you watch it, it is just like being stood in the corner of the room, just observing, stuff in real time. Yeah. Because it isn't really overly dramatized. It's literally just kind of like just hanging out and just seeing all this stuff.
It's like a fan cam, innit?
Yeah, it's brilliant.
But
I found it really interesting.
There's a Last Christmas documentary as well that went out a couple of weeks ago on BBC Two. And that's worth watching because a lot of this is explained.
A lot of this stuff
I've seen a bit.
And a lot of that's explained where people didn't understand that about Last Christmas and about George Michael and how amazing he is.
It's that bit though where he's talking to Paulie Yates and he's kind of saying, I hope this doesn't impact upon my next number 1. And she goes, oh, why have you got a Christmas record? And he kind of goes, it's called Last Christmas. And goes, oh right, how does it go? And he's going, Last Christmas. And it's just so mad that 40 years ago, and you are watching it literally happen and thinking nobody even knew about that record at that point, and Paulie Yates is hearing that melody for the first time. And I found the whole thing fascinating. If you haven't seen it already, it's on the BBC iPlayer.
While we're on just talking about music documentaries for 1 second, there's a good documentary on Netflix about how they made We Are the World. Is it?
It's really good. That's really good. Yeah,
because that's sort of similar, isn't it? It's like herding cats of all the biggest stars in the world into a room for
one night thing.
Yeah, one night.
Yeah, one night.
And it being like, put your ego over there, mate. We're making a song to raise millions of pounds, and it's like people are like, "Oh, I'm not doing that. I'm going to a party." It's like, no, if you're not coming, then you're not going to be. And loads of fallout with people sacking agents and all kinds of.
That one's even more mad because it really. I mean, when you watch the Band-Aid one, yes, of course you've got Bono and you've got Sting and you've got all these sort of people who. Well, to be fair, at the time, they were all decent artists and they were all popularized, but they weren't perhaps. They hadn't achieved the sort of legendary status that we regard them in now. But when you watch the USA for Africa one, it's mad because it's literally, you're looking around that room and it's just everybody who was everybody at the time in obviously American artists, but world music. But you're there and you've got Michael Jackson just kind of working out the melody and things, and you're just watching all of this stuff. It's a mad thing.
It is. So I mean, if anyone needs anything else to watch, make sure to watch.
There you go. There's our plug.
Yeah.
So before we finish, related to Christmas, if you could,
you've lowered the tone here. You just gone really lowered the tone.
No, because
you were about to if you can hand out something this year,
whatever you can give.
Yeah.
No, if you could relive one Christmas from your childhood, which one would it be and why? Because obviously, as you get older, it's great and it's about being with people and seeing people if you can and all of that. Of course, it is. But as a kid, it's unbelievable, isn't it? So is the one where you think, if I could just choose one, I'd just go back and relive that one again. Have you got one in mind, or?
I don't know whether there's one in particular, but I do have a vivid memory, which I think we probably all do, of waking up on Christmas Day morning when you still have to be careful how we say this now, don't we? In terms of the audience. Yeah, absolutely, but we all know what we're saying here. I'm not going to give anything away in case you're watching this with your children, etc., etc. But when you wake up with that real magic, and I would always remember waking up with it wasn't a stocking full of presents. It was always a pillowcase full of presents, right?
Yeah.
And that would be sort of leaning on, and there'd be like like the edges of boxes and stuff, kind of like the funny sharp edges, and that'd be sort of
on your feet,
waiting on your feet or on your calf and whatever. And you'd wake up and that was really exciting, and that was that's when Christmas is at its best, I think. So I suppose if I could go back and relive anything, it would be going back to that time at that certain age where Christmas is particularly special, shall we say?
Yeah, because it would feel like it took ages to get here, wouldn't it? No, those last few days.
I think the days between breaking up from school and actually getting to like Christmas Eve felt like the longest days ever with nothing happening in them.
Yeah.
But I also remember my dad used to always come home half day on Christmas Eve, and that was always the signal to me that it was the start of Christmas.
Right.
Because my dad was home then.
Yeah.
Not that like he worked away or anything, but that was the signal. He was going to be off till
like a piece of fish wrapped up, like in Scrooge.
Well, I always remember as well. I always remember like my uncle had like
a veal it is. Sorry to be.
No, I mean that.
I was a joke.
No,
it was a Scrooge joke.
Yeah, that's a quality piece of meat there. My uncle had a market stall, and and so we'd always used to go to the markets. Markets is one of the markets he was at as well. Yeah. That always felt like a community thing. And then same as Dave. Then like the sleep, the trying to get to sleep on Christmas Eve is got to be, as a kid, literally one of the worst. Like, you know what I mean? You can't get to. You look over and look at your clock, and then you do it again, and the clock had gone like 2 minutes, even though it felt like an absolute eternity. And then you would get it, and then you might hear a noise or two, and it's like, is that the noise? And then you would hear the noise of said person coming into your room. But I always used to be like, I can't just jump up now. I have to give it a little bit of time. Just so I'm not like, and then
you don't want Santa to see you.
No. So give yourself, and then how long's enough time? Maybe there's more, maybe who knows? And then you get up, and then I'm just like thinking, I can't think of again any particular one, because I'm very lucky. I'm very lucky. Every Christmas has been amazing for me. We never went without. My mum was the kind of mum that queued for hours to get the Cabbage Patch doll for my sister, all that kind of thing. We never went without for anything. If we asked for something, the big man always delivered. Always, no matter what. It's down to the spec of anything. If you wanted that bike, you got that bike. We never went without in our house. So, and my mum and dad, when we were as a kid, mum and dad had full-time jobs, and they had a shop, and they somehow managed to do it all. So it was fantastic, and as I said, so then therefore there was no particular one. I remember getting the BMX I wanted, and it was amazing. I asked for a Nintendo, and I got a Super Nintendo, but I also got a telly because they didn't want me watching it, playing on it on the telly downstairs. So they put me, made sure I was in. So there was always like little things like that. Yeah, there was always, there was, if I wanted the one thing, I always got it. And it was always brilliant.
No, we were the same. We were like very, very lucky. I'm very aware that we were lucky, and mum and dad done everything to make sure we had an amazing time. But it's going back. It's just that. The feelings, isn't it? That feelings of waking up when you know that you've like put the foot out and feeling
It's that waking up. It's I think what it is, and you just reminded me of it before, Ped, when you were saying it's when you're trying to get to sleep and you have been not just that night and whatever, but you have been anticipating Christmas Day morning or whenever you can feasibly get up when the big man has arrived. You've been waiting for that, not for days, but for weeks and for months. I mean, arguably for the whole year almost. You know, and then this intensifies on the night before when you're trying to get to sleep. But that moment when you actually wake up and you feel that, you know, whatever, that stocking or pillowcase or whatever of presents kind of leaning on your dead leg, and you can get up and you just think, this is the moment that I've been waiting for so long, and it's finally here, and it's just the best thing in the world.
I think that, like, again, I just feel like now there very much is like the kids are a lot more switched on. So when something comes out, it always feels like to me now that kids just get what they want instantaneously, and that's fine.
We have a rule, like, if nothing in December.
You know? I have a December birthday as well, so I don't have that thing of like I would get something halfway through the year. I get 2 things in December, but I do feel like there's a very much like you get what you want when you want now sort of culture. And maybe listen, if people are working hard, then fair play. If they're working hard to make sure.
It's away a little bit.
But for us, it felt like, you know, we talked about it before, like Everton kits. You didn't get Everton kits in August. I got them either for me, one kit for my birthday, and the home kit for my birthday, and the away kit for Christmas. And the trackie was always me Christmas Day clothes, because obviously in Liverpool, Christmas Day and Boxing Day clothes are a huge thing. So that's when I got those things. So like you say, Nate, you waited all year, and I certainly did wait all year for that particular thing. And if something come out at the wrong time or was badly timed, you could wait all year for that thing. You know, so...
But that's good, because it gives you that excitement. I've done it as an adult. I've like gone, I won't have that now, keep it till Christmas to keep that excitement. But there's like the other side, because obviously when you... That is really one of the greatest times of your life as a kid. You know, Christmas Eve and Christmas morning.
But here's a question for you on the Christmas morning thing. Because in terms of opening the presents, right? So me and my sister would take our prezzies through to mum and dad's room, and we'd probably sort of do it in there. Or we might do it in the lounge. We'd probably do it in there. Now, the question is, did your dad in his pajamas make you fold up the wrapping paper? So like don't destroy it, right? Don't rip it, right? Because we can use that again, right? So actually take the wrapping paper, because it's still in a pretty sort of neat thing, and then you can fold it up, and then you can wrap it again. I mean, he wasn't thinking from an environmental point of view, you know, but he was just being. Well, why not? But yeah, he just wasn't into. He couldn't just like rip it. You just had to go round and fold it all up and make sure that could be used again.
I don't remember genuinely ever unwrapping my presents in front of my mum and dad. Like,
really?
It wasn't terrible. No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't a thing.
No, it wasn't.
No, it wasn't a thing. We didn't. We didn't have to do that. Yeah. We were like the presents are at the end of your bed, and if you want to take that bag downstairs, and you know, with me sister and just be like,
mum and dad are sleeping.
My mum and dad were upstairs, and they were asleep, and they done their bit.
Yeah,
they done their bit. They weren't coming down. And
do you know what's mad? Right, obviously, as a parent, so what I'm saying, it's so exciting as a kid. As a parent, you have to clear the way for the big fella. You've got to make sure like he can land on the roof and all that, so everyone's got to be asleep. And you have to go in to check they're asleep, of course.
Yeah.
And when you've got young kids, those little fuckers don't go asleep.
No.
Many Christmas Eves, me and my missus, you might have had this, Dave, as well. Me and my missus have got into bed at 3:30, 25 to 4 in the morning to go to sleep. And at 10 to 7, they've come into the room because Father Christmas has been with the stockings. Yeah. So for quite a few Christmas days across the years, by about 7 in the night, I'm seeing 4 people, and it ain't because I've had loads of bevy. I'm just like the pair of us are like, oh my God. But the last couple of years, because Zach's a bit older and the other 2 are older, we've generally had like 6 or 7 hours sleep by the time they come in. And it's a different vibe.
Oh, different world.
It's a different. They're still in it. Like all of them come in the room. They're still in it like 9 or so.
Well, it's a different. It'll be the other way, won't it? Now for you, where it'll be like and obviously Zach's not at that point, so I'm pretty sure he's not at that point where your kids will have hangovers on Christmas morning.
Zach's definitely not.
Yeah, he's not at that. Not quite yet.
No, the other two. I'll be honest.
Yeah.
Because the other two really respect the Christmas Day thing.
Yeah.
So they've never gone out and got blood. I done it once when I remember I must have been about 18. Yeah. And our Phil would have been like 14. And I went out and had quite a few on Christmas Eve, and I remember him. I might have been 17 actually. And I remember him waking me up, and I was saying, mate, you'll have to give me another half an hour because I felt like I was going to throw up.
Was that 4 in the afternoon?
It was. And never ever again did I do it, because I thought it's just one day. It's just one day of the year that you should be all excited for, and I've never done it. And to be fair, my kids have been sound, they've never done.
Yeah.
Right, so,
no, I used to love going out on Christmas Eve. But the one other thing was, and again, but you have to turn, if you've got kids listening, you have to do the earmuffs on this. The other thing, my auntie...
Okay, just pause.
Go on.
Cover your kids' ears now.
My auntie lived 4 doors up the street. Yeah. So there was a lot on Christmas Eve of the shuffling.
Forward.
I don't know what they were doing.
All they're doing this, clearing the way.
So there was a lot clearing the way. There was a lot of shuffling between the two houses.
Yeah, snacks for Santa.
One person would bring stuff in, and then that person would take stuff. Quite late. You were there. This shuffling between the two houses.
Fairly.
I don't know why you had to do a warning for that, to be honest with you, because all you're doing,
yeah.
Food they were just preparing for the big man. I mean, the thing that amuses me is that we spent the last 10 minutes kind of, obviously talking in a way that is acceptable to all who may be watching this, and until Baz referred to them all as little fuckers.
It was said nicely. It was said with love.
My dad actually told us a story at the match on Sunday when he was saying about holding some quiche and some blancmange for somebody, and he actually said he got a knock about 3:30 in the morning, and my dad was like, well, "What are you doing?" He was like, "I've come for
the blancmange. Got to go on the food."
Yeah, and they were like, he said the kids have only just gone to sleep, and he was like, "That was an annual thing."
No, I know. So, honestly, being there, So there you go.
There you go. Some great memories there.
It is great memories, and it's a fine time, isn't it? Lovely. Whatever you're doing, have a fantastic time.
Yeah.
Enjoy.
Yes.
Enjoy if you can. Enjoy being with family and friends and all of that stuff, and see people if they're on their own. Try to connect with people, because that's the most. That is, I know, for some people at this time of the year, it isn't amazing like it is for other people. So. If you've got a mate or whatever, you just give them a little text or phone or check in if you can with other people as well. We're going to leave it there.
Yes.
Wishing everybody a fantastic Christmas and a very, very happy 2025. Dave, have an absolute cracker, mate.
And to you both.
Enjoy it.
Merry Christmas.
Thank you very much. It's been another good year. Thank you for having us, and I look forward to more of the same in 2025.
Absolute pleasure. James, wishing you a Merry Christmas, mate. Your first Christmas with us.
Yeah.
There you go. Everyone out there listening, watching, whatever, have a fantastic time. And I wish you all a very happy New Year as well. We'll see you later. Cheers, Dave.
Nice one, boys.
Nice one. Enjoy it, mate.